حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا
الحمد لله على ما وهب من الهدى إلى شرعه ومنهاجه وألهم من استخراج مقاصده وتنسيق حجاجه والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد الذي أقام به صرح الإصلاح بعد ارتجاجه وعلى أصحابه وآله نجوم سماء الإسلام وجواهر تاجه وأئمة الدين الذين بهم أضحى أفق العلم إثر بزوغ فجر وانبلاجه. أما بعد، فقد قال الله عز وجل في كتابه العزيز بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم من عمل صالحا فلنفسه ومن أساء فعليها وما ربك بظلام للعبيد. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في حديث خيركم خيركم لأهله أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Respected brothers, sisters, elders, youngsters, today I wanted to go back to the dawn of Nubuwwah to understand the relationship between Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Khadija radiallahu anha. Customarily, I've done a short version of this speech, of this khutbah, when I am invited to weddings, nikah, walima. And today I thought that it's pertinent that I do a long version of this. So the dawn, as I was saying, the dawn of Nubuwwah was when the Prophet ﷺ is in the cave and revelation began to descend. Now we know the reaction of the Prophet ﷺ. He was perturbed. And the Prophet ﷺ had a large clan. He had a large clan. His uncles at that time were still alive. Abu Talib was alive at that time. This is the man who took care of the Prophet ﷺ for many years after Abdul Muttalib had passed. His good friends were alive. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was there. But interestingly enough, who did he go to after that episode in the cave of Hira? He went to no one else except Khadija radiallahu anha. So he didn't go to his uncle Abu Talib, who had taken care of him for a very long time. He didn't go to his friend, his best friend Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, his closest friend. He goes to his wife. And this is a time of upheaval and turbulence in the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what did Khadija radiallahu anha say? She didn't say, I told you not to hang around in caves. And this is what happens when you hang around in caves away from the family. She didn't say this. And she didn't have anything prepared when the Prophet ﷺ narrated the entire episode to Khadija radiallahu anha. Her response was extemporaneous. It was impromptu response. She had no notes prepared, nothing. Usually when we conduct a seerah program, we have notes prepared. We know exactly what we're going to say, how we're going to say it. But the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, she had nothing prepared. And this was completely impromptu. And these are words that are enshrined in the books of hadith, the various books of hadith. So she said in few words that كَلَّا وَاللَّهِ لَا يُخْزِيكَ اللَّهُ أَبَدًا إِنَّكَ لَتَصِلُ الرَّحِمَ وَتَحْمِلُ الْكَلْبَ وَتَكْسِبُ الْمَعْدُومَ وَتُعِينُ عَلَى نَوَائِبِ الْحَقِّ. Basically, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to forsake you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to forsake you because you have qualities other people don't. You have such qualities that other people, they don't possess these qualities. As many people there are in Makkah, none of them have the qualities that you possess. And the interesting thing over here, in his most difficult time, this was a time which it was very difficult for the Prophet ﷺ. This was his difficult time, a time of turbulence and upheaval. She was there for him. Khadija radiallahu anha was there for him. And this should be the relationship between the husband and wife. The relationship that the Prophet ﷺ had with Khadija and Khadija radiallahu anha with the Prophet ﷺ. This is the relationship, this is the golden standard. This is the golden standard. Sometimes you come home and hard day at work, or there's a headache that doesn't go away. And you say that, you know what, I've had a hard day at work. Or the wife comes home and she says that I've had a hard day at work. And at that moment you turn around and say, you know what, my day was harder. My day was harder. That means you aren't listening. That means you're not listening. This isn't some kind of competition who has worked harder or who is working harder throughout the entire day. That means you're not there for your spouse. That means that you're not there for your significant other. Sure, you can say it later, but at that time, at that moment, let your spouse offload. Let your spouse offload. In the time of difficulty, a husband should be there for the wife, and the wife should be there for the husband. Be sensitive towards one another. Be sensitive to each other. The Prophet ﷺ is commanded by Allah Azza wa Jal to wake up for tahajjud. This is a command. This was wajib for the Prophet ﷺ. The salat of tahajjud, this is nafil for us, but for the Prophet ﷺ, this was a requisite. So this was something that was incumbent. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it wajib upon the Prophet ﷺ to offer the tahajjud prayer. So when he's getting up at tahajjud, he's tiptoeing. He's tiptoeing. He's not making a ruckus. He's not making noise. He's tiptoeing throughout the entire house. Aisha's sleep, Aisha radiallahu anha, her sleep should not be disturbed. Those who are living close by, their sleep should not be disturbed. Where he is at home, he is sensitive. The Prophet ﷺ is sensitive. We get up and we wake up the entire household and the entire neighborhood because we're offering tahajjud. Because we're offering tahajjud. This is not the way of Rasulullah ﷺ. At home we should be sensitive. At the masjid we should be sensitive. When we drive we should be sensitive. In all of our affairs we should be sensitive people. We should be people of sensitivity. Be there for your husband, be there for your wife. This is what you call love. This is the love that Rasulullah ﷺ has mentioned in numerous hadith, in numerous narrations. What we define today as love is, you know what, it was love at first sight. It was love at first sight. These are the words that you hear. That it was love at first sight. Or I fell in love with her. When I saw her, that's when I knew. That ain't love. That's infatuation. We're playing out our Disney fantasies. That it was love at first sight. These are our Disney fantasies. We've been watching too many movies. The day you make a firm conviction after 15, 20 years of marriage, that is love. That this is the woman I'm going to stay with until the day I leave this world. Until the day Allah Azza wa Jalla calls me back, I'm going to stay with this woman. That you stay with the person that you've been married. The one you saw and liked, and the one that you, because the way she looked, you married her, then you separated after 1 year. This is not love. This is not love. In Arabic, love is defined as what? As muhabba. This is the Arabic word for love. It comes from habba. What is habba? Habba means seed. Habba means seed. You sow the seed. When you plant a seed, what do you do with it? You plant it, you sow it, you work on it. You work on the seed. You put effort into that seed so it grows into something. And after a long time, that seed gives fruits. But you have to water it. You have to plow it. In a similar way, this is what muhabba is. This is what love is. This is what love for the spouses. We think love is a 3-hour movie. And they live happily ever after. This is what we think love is. We think, yeah, I want my life to be like that. But there's something terribly missing in this picture and in those movies. And it's the hard work that goes behind a relationship, that goes behind a marriage. The Prophet ﷺ said, خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِي خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِي وَأَنَا خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِي. So the Prophet ﷺ in this hadith is saying that the best from amongst you, this is the standard, the best amongst you is the one who is best to his family. The one who is best to his family. وَأَنَا خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِي. And I am the best from all of you to my family. This was the relationship the Prophet ﷺ had with his family. In Tirmidhi, there is a narration that if the entire creation regards you as good, but your family regards you as no good, this person is not a good person. Because when he comes home, he becomes that person, he becomes a burden. Then in the eyes of Allah, you're no good. In the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're no good. But if the entire humanity regards you as bad, but the family, your family regards you as good, then you're good in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Then you are good in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because these people have the most contact with you. Your family members have the most contact with you. So we should be good to our families. We should be good to our spouse. We should be good to our kids. You and I, yeah, sure, we look good in the masjid. We look very good in the masjid. Akhi, Habibi, sister. This is how we are in the masjid, correct? That when we're interacting with one another, how are we? We're very humble. We're very apologetic. We show this face. So you and I, it's very easy when we're interacting with one another that, okay, we should look good. We should look good and we should present ourselves in a way, in a manner that a person looks at me in a favorable way. But now, when I'm with my family, the demeanor changes completely. The demeanor completely changes, and that's not right. When the contract of nikah in Islam, when the contract of nikah is solemnized, we took an oath with Allah Azza wa Jalla that you will be good to that person. The groom is taking an oath. The bride is taking an oath that they will be good to one another. This is why the Prophet ﷺ said, خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِهِ, that the best amongst you is the one who is best to his family. The best amongst you is the one who is best to his family. And the worst thing is when spouses don't get along for whatever reason, the greatest casualty is the children. And I've heard from people, couples who don't get along, that, I will do anything for my children. Get along with your spouse then. If you're going to do anything for your children, then get along with your spouse. Make an effort over there. Make an effort over there. We're looking for a successful, happy home. Each and every single one of us, we want a tranquil home. A home of solace and comfort. Go home with a smile. Leave your musibah outside. Leave your troubles outside the door. Don't smile outside. And inside the home, you're groucho. Inside your home, you're groucho. Khadija radhiyallahu anha said, never did the Prophet ﷺ enter home except that he had a smile on his face. He had a smile on his face. And this is not just limited to husband and wife. This is for families who are living with one another. Families who are living with one another. Go home. When we go home, leave our musibah, leave our masa'ib, leave our troubles outside. But when we come home, we should come home with a smile. And this is But the Prophet, this hadith that Khadija is narrating, that the Prophet ﷺ never entered home except that he had a smile on his face. Now we know that Khadija died. She passed away in Makkah. She's buried in Jannatul Ma'ad. This is amazing because the Meccan years were the most difficult years of Rasulullah ﷺ. Never a morning that it brought a new trial. Never an evening except that it brought a new tribulation. So the Meccan years were very difficult years for Rasulullah ﷺ. Can you imagine? The Prophet ﷺ is going out. He is seeing, he is witnessing with his own eyes the torture of Bilal radiallahu anhu, crying al-Ahad, al-Ahad. He is witnessing Ammar bin Yasir. He is witnessing Yasir. He is witnessing Sumayya being tortured. Imagine this is what Rasulullah ﷺ is seeing. This is what he's witnessing. And all he could do at that time was give words of encouragement. At that time he could only give words of encouragement. Sabran ya ala Yasir. That be patient, O family of Yasir. فَإِنَّ مَوْعِدُكُمُ الْجَنَّةِ. Because your ultimate abode is Jannah. Your ultimate abode is paradise. After seeing all of this, these tortures, he comes into the house and he has a smile on his face. He has a smile on his face. This was the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You and me were good for the world. You and me, we are good for the world. But the people we should be good to, we have no time for them. The people that we should be good to, they don't see our best behavior. They don't see our best behavior. In the time of Umar, radiallahu anhu, a governor comes. He sees Umar radiallahu anhu kissing one of his kids. And asks, so the governor asks, perplexed, because you're kissing your kids? You know, you're kissing your kids? So Umar radiallahu anhu said, yes, of course. But don't you do this? This is, you know, this is the love that a father displays to his children. So the governor said that, no, I don't do this. No, this is not something that I do. When I come home, things are on complete lockdown. That's it. You know, game over. When I come home, things are on complete lockdown. This is how I am. So Umar, what does he do? He demotes him immediately. He demotes the governor. He says that such a person who is not lenient with his family, who does not show any consideration to his family, but tariq awla, for glory, this person is not going to show any consideration to his people, to his subjects, to his subordinates. So Umar removes him from that post and demotes him. This is the sunnah of Umar. We have to ask that we as fathers, as mothers, when we enter the home, our children run away from us, or do they come to us? The Prophet ﷺ was kissing his grandchild, and a Bedouin says, same thing, you're kissing this child? And then he says that I have 10, and not one of them have I kissed. I have not kissed even one of them. So the Prophet ﷺ said, أَوَ أَمْلِكُ لَكْ وَقَدْ نَزَعَ رَحْمَةُ اللَّهِ مِنْ قَلْبِكَ. This man, he wasn't beating his child. He wasn't beating his child or scolding. And sometimes, yes, discipline is necessary. But the Prophet ﷺ is using these words. He's saying, Awa amlikula, can I do anything? If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has snatched away rahmah and compassion from your heart, I can't do anything about that. But these were the words, these were the stern words of Rasulullah ﷺ. Brothers and sisters, we need to assess ourselves that how we are with our families. How we are with our families, with our spouses, with our mother, with our father, with our siblings, with our children. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask us about our spouses and our families. There's a narration where a woman, she was described as tusalli wa tasum. She was a woman that would offer the salat and she would fast daily. But tu'thi jara, she would inconvenience her neighbors. This woman would inconvenience her neighbors. So the Prophet ﷺ very frankly, very candidly, he said, Hiya fin nar. She's in Jahannam. This woman will go to Jahannam because she's inconveniencing someone. The scholars write that if this is her condition, if this is her condition for harming the neighbor, what about a person who is harmful to his spouse, who is harmful to his family, who is harmful to his mother, who is harmful to his father, his siblings, his extended family? What about such a person? What about that person? The neighbor is far. The neighbor is far. What about the people that we are living with? What about the people that we are living with? If we can't bring rahmah, this is a deen of rahmah and hope. The deen of Islam is a deen of rahmah. It's a deen of compassion and hope. This is what Islam brings to the table. It brings that rahmah. It brings that mercy and compassion. It brings that hope. And if we can't bring rahmah and compassion into our homes, then it's over. Then it's over for us. We've messed up our dunya. We've messed up our akhirah. The narration says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have mercy on the individual who shows mercy to people, who shows mercy to humanity. This narration, the scholars, they mention that al-jaza min jins al-amal, that the reward is predicated on the genus, on the type of amal, on the type of action. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will deal with us in such a way that we dealt, the way we dealt with people. So if we dealt with people in a harsh manner, in a stern manner, this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to deal with us. If we are people who can't show mercy, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not show us mercy. If we are people who can't show mercy, who can't show compassion, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not show us mercy. The day you and I will need Allah's mercy on the plains of Qiyamah, when you and I will be standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to show us mercy on that day. If that's the case, what about a person who did not show mercy to his wife, to the husband, siblings, children? What about that person? So we need to sort out our homes. We need to correct our homes. We need to reform our homes. And first we have to reform ourselves. We need to correct ourselves. Because one of the reasons why we have dysfunctional children, there is no solace or peace or tranquility at home. This is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons why we have a dysfunctional younger generation. Because there is no solace and tranquility at home. Islam is a religion that brought hope for people. Why did people embrace Islam? Because it gave hope to people who had no status. They were downtrodden people. So they embraced Islam. Amongst other things, besides the important concept of wahdaniyah and acknowledging the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Islam brought so much more than just that. It brought so much more than just that they would be shown mercy. These people, they would be shown mercy. These downtrodden people in society, they knew that if we accept Islam, besides acknowledging the oneness of Allah, this religion will show us mercy. This religion will show us compassion. Something that they never witnessed, something that they never saw before. If we desire an ummah, then we should start with our home. If we desire an ummah of togetherness, an ummah of unity, then we need to start with our home. Then if we can create a home, then we can create a community. If we can create a community, then we can create a nation. If we can create a nation, then we can create an ummah of togetherness. An ummah where people live with one another, with compassion, with mercy. And if we can't create anything at home, then dream on. And we should dream on. Right? If we think that yes, we need to unite the ummah, no, that's not happening. That's not going to happen. The problem today, and I don't want to discourage anyone, but some things are not in our hands. But this is definitely something that we can correct, something that we can reform, something that we can change. The problem today is that we enter into marriage like a civil rights activist. This is how we enter into marriage, like a civil rights activist. We take paper, these are my rights. She's got her paper, these are my rights. So the groom has his paper with points 1 to 10. The bride has her paper with 1 to 10. These are my rights. So you're entering into marriage with this thing that, with this understanding that, my rights should be fulfilled first and foremost. My rights should be fulfilled first and foremost. This is not a marriage. This type of marriage is not going to succeed. Give people their rights and you'll be reciprocated. This is the qa'idah. This is the usul. This is the foundation. That give people their rights and you will be reciprocated. Be people of giving, not taking. Be people of giving and not taking. There's a narration where a loose woman, she was forgiven. Why? She was forgiven because she helped a dog. She gave water to a dog. And there was a man who was not forgiven. Why? Because he had an animal, a cat, and he was abusive towards it. Why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah giving examples of cats and dogs? Why is Allah, why is the Prophet giving examples of cats and dogs? That if you show mercy to animals, and cats and dogs, you can't eat them. The vast majority of the scholars, they consider them to be najas. They consider them to be najas. But yet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving an example. The Prophet is giving an example of cats and dogs. That if you show mercy to animals that are najas, then showing mercy to human beings is going to be far greater. The reward is going to be greater than what these people were given, what this woman was given. And the punishment the man was given, that punishment is going to be greater if we don't show mercy to humanity. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونشكره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله وصحبه وآله أما بعد. عباد الله، فإني أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله العلي العظيم القائل في محكم كتابه: يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة عليها ملائكة غلاظ شداد لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون واعلموا أن الله أمركم بأمر عظيم أمركم بالصلاة والسلام على النبي الكريم فقال: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. يقول الله تعالى: يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم إن زلزلة الساعة شيء عظيم يوم ترونها تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت وتضع كل ذات حمل حملها وترى الناس سكارى وما هم بسكارى ولكن عذاب الله شديد. اللهم إنا دعوناك فاستجب لنا دعانا فاغفر اللهم لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اجعلنا هداة مهتدين غير ضالين ولا مضلين. اللهم استر عوراتنا وآمن روعاتنا واكفنا ما همنا وقنا شر ما نتخوف. اللهم اجعل اجتماعنا هذا اجتماعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تجعل فينا ولا معنا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم تقبل منا صلاتنا وقيامنا وركوعنا وسجودنا وتقبل منا صالح أعمالنا واجعلنا من المقبولين في الدنيا والآخرة. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم اجعل أولادنا أبرارا أتقياء وأنبتهم في الإسلام نباتا حسنا. اللهم اصلح شأننا كله، اللهم اصلح ديننا كله. اللهم اجعل آخر كلامنا من الدنيا لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروا يزدكم واستغفروا يغفر لكم واتقوا يجعل لكم من أمركم مخرجا. One request. Everyone, if they can remember in their pious du'as, Brother Farooq Mehman's family, they passed away in Pakistan. There is a daughter, Iqra, who is in critical condition, her aunt as well, and cousin. They have all passed away in Pakistan. Everyone is requested to remember them in their pious du'as. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise their rank, elevate their rank. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive their shortcomings and grant them proximity and Jannah for those. And also, remember those who are sick. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them all shifa kamila ajr.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya 'ala as-salat, hayya 'ala al-falah. Qad qamat as-salat, qad qamat as-salat. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. هل أتاك حديث الغاشية وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تصلى نارا حامية تسقى من عين آنية ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع وجوه يومئذ ناعمة لسعيها راضية في جنة عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارق مصفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم. الله. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.